Good morning.
Good morning. How's it going, Adam?
Good. How are you?
I'm awesome. I'm awesome.
Might be
Been a
just
cre-
probably be just me this morning. Camry woke up pretty warm, maybe feverish. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't know. So we'll see.
oh no, man.
Yeah, she said her stomach was hurting a little bit, and
Okay.
so hopefully it's just maybe something she ate. But
Right. Has there been an influx of COVID in your neck of the woods?
there has, um, but yeah, I mean a little bit. We haven't really been interacting with a whole lot of people other than people
Right.
in and out of the shop. But
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, they've
Okay.
started kind of reassessing measures and stuff like that here in the city because a lot of restaurants open pretty quick and
Yeah.
doing the 50%, but you know how that works.
It's been pretty. I mean, I don't know about where you are, but I know where we are. There's been a little bit of an uptick in cases. I was talking with some people yesterday in Arizona in my dojo. I've got a guy who's a stem cell doctor. So
Okay.
basically, he does stem cell injections for rejuvenating joints and whatnot. And
Yeah,
yeah, like it's a hotbed for them right
yeah,
now.
for sure.
And yeah, so he's trying to keep his distance from his client base as well. And I don't blame him. I mean, there's been some places already where they opened and now they're nope, they're pulling it way back.
Yeah.
And when you start, that's the challenge. Is that
Yeah.
when we as a society we've, for lack of a better term, we've lost some of our freedoms over this.
Hmm.
People are getting antsy. Tensions are high with all the other stuff that's happening. They just want to get out. And now you give people an inch, they take a mile, and then whoa, wait, and then you take it back. Oh,
Yeah.
it's not pretty.
But it's still, like we had talked about before, it's not necessarily like hospital wise
No,
cases of COVID. It's just people testing positive and things like that.
correct.
So it's really a skewed measurement, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think they're just doing it to try to scare us as far as like, announcing all the positive tests, whether they're, no matter what the case is of it, you know what I
right.
mean? So I don't know, but Florida re-announced that they're shutting down all bars and stuff. I don't know about
Yeah,
restaurants, but bars are definitely closed.
yeah. I was on the my final call last week with Steve from Pedego, Tampa,
Hmm.
and he was on the whole time that on one of our calls he was waiting to get tested
Oh,
and
wow.
like just on hold to be able to get in. He got tested the next day. Took him 6 hours to get the
Wow.
test actually done. Like he waited in line for 6 hours with his daughter,
Wow.
and he found out 3 hours in that they told him go home and we'll just save your spot. And he was like, "Why didn't you tell me this 3 hours ago?"
Seriously.
And then at the end, he's pretty confident. He still hasn't replied to me, but he's pretty confident that he's got it. He hasn't gotten his results yet, but I'm not surprised. Like they were getting 4 to 5,000 people a day testing positive, so it's just a wildfire, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can't control it.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that doesn't mean you're going to spread it, nor that you're going to get sick,
Exactly. I mean, if you're again, it comes back to I don't want my parents to get sick because they're in their late 70s and they have certain ailments that I just want to make sure that they're safe. But I mean, I don't know if I mentioned this to you. I now have somebody who I know. Like I went to their wedding and they passed away my
Yeah,
age.
yeah, you did tell me that.
So
Yep.
is he as healthy as guys like you and me who eat right, exercise, get a lot of sleep, and so on and so forth, drink tons of water? I know he wasn't. It's just and I have. Again, we were friends over a decade ago, and
Yeah.
that's long gone.
Gotcha.
How was your weekend? Did you guys get a lot of traffic, some good sales?
Yeah, we did. I don't know how many we sold specifically, but we came in yet. So we're ending. Well, still have today, but we're ending the month with 15. So yeah. So this past week,
Good for you, man.
we
I'm
had
proud of you.
Yeah, thank
It's
you.
almost like, hey, that's like think of it. That's a 50% over goal number.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, celebrate all wins, Adam. I'm telling you, like, and a celebration of a win like that doesn't need to be where you got to go out and spend $1,000, but you and Camry could share a nice bottle of wine with a nice steak dinner and go, like, we deserve this.
Yeah.
Like, little things like that make it helps motivate, because otherwise, you know, if you go, oh, but we only did 8 last month, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Celebrate the win now.
For sure.
Good for you, man.
We did last night, but yeah, yesterday we wound up coming in because we were waiting on a shipment. We're closed on Mondays.
Right.
We were waiting on a shipment, and we were just kind of hanging out. I was doing some busy work, and Camry was fiddling here at the counter doing stuff, and got a phone call, and this lady, she's just like, oh, like, wanted to, you know, come and check out the bikes, and Camry's like, well, we're technically not open, but we're here. So
right.
So she gets on the phone with me asking for directions and stuff and going into all these detail. Like, she bought a Gazelle from the other local shop here, and she's just like, I've had the bike, I've had it for a month. I've had it in there almost, or at least 4 times, and they can't seem to get the squeal to go away. And she was just like, so, I mean, honestly, if you know, are you guys going to take care of me? And I said, absolutely, hands down. Like, your bike comes with a 5-year warranty. We are here 6 days a week. You know, we will get you in, get you seen, hands down. And she was like, okay, great. And so they get here. She gets on the bike. She's like, oh my gosh, this is so much different than the Gazelle. Like, I love it.
Sure.
And so she wound up walking. She didn't walk out with a bike, but she did pay for one.
Right on. Well, then there you go. Closed. Good for you, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
So she's obviously going to return the Gazelle and just say, that's it, I'm done.
They're going to do their best to. They bought it demoed from the other shop. So they, after COVID reopened, they decided to get rid of all their rental bikes. They had about 8 Gazelles and maybe a couple Raleighs mixed in. So they just washed them out. They're like, oh yeah, they've been sitting for a month, so we just need to get rid of them. And I don't think they're doing any more rentals, but that shop's it's a shit show.
Right. Yeah. You know what? One of the things that, like, I mean, the Gazelle is actually it's a good bike. Yeah. I mean, but if they can't solve the problem.
Exactly.
I mean, I think any Pedego dealer worth their salt after a certain amount of time would have said, hey, you know what? This is what we're like within a month. It's like a demo bike. Here, use this. In the meantime, we'll replace, or we're just going to replace it. I mean, that's just the type of company that you've affiliated yourself with. And I'm not saying that Gazelle doesn't provide that, because I know some of the guys that work within the company and they're good people. I just don't know the upper echelon of that company. I mean, I've met and, you know, dined with Don, Tom, Cassidy. So I know these guys. Yeah. And I know them enough to say that they will, when the whole idea of delighting the customer is no bullshit. They are ready to bend over backwards for you as the dealer so that you can do what you need to do, and you've proven it. So
and that's what I told her too. I was like,
that's great.
You know, I kind of asked her some details. I didn't want to get too deep into it, but I was just like, you know, so what was the issue, and, you know, kind of going into it a little bit with her, and she was just saying how the rear wheel is squealing and maybe the brake, I don't know, but I was just like, well, I mean, for me personally, if you're unhappy with the bike, if you become unhappy with the Pedego, you know, you come back to me and, you know, we will work something out. We'll figure out a way to make it right, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I was just saying how, you know, how great our warranty is. And, you know, I mean, more than likely, you know, what I tell Pedego about it, and then they'll send me a new rear wheel, or, you know, well, you know, they'll make it right. Just like you were saying, like, they pride themselves on delighting the customer and making it right with us. So.
And wouldn't you, as a business owner, and you tell me, Adam, would you not put her into another bike that's working so that at least she's out there?
Absolutely.
So that, hey, let me, you know, it's no different than, hey, we're going to put you in a rental car, but so at least you're out, you're enjoying, you can, you know, and we'll take care of this. And until it's right, you're out there. Yeah. Because that would have, if I'm the Gazelle dealer, that's how you eliminate the problem that they've created their own monster. Absolutely. Because they're taking it back, and then leaving her high and dry, essentially. Yeah. So good lesson for everybody in that. And I mean, I'm a big believer in, hey, let's just I mean, I did that with treadmills. If we, and talk about a pain in the ass, having to go and deliver a treadmill to take somebody's out, because otherwise they're not exercising.
Yeah.
So we used to, like, here, take a floor model. It's in your home and we'll just swap it out. I mean, it costs us hundreds of dollars, but the goodwill that you build up.
Yeah.
Because when it comes down to it, when you end up, like, one day, Adam, the goal I hope for you is, you know, either one day you're going to sell the business. Like, you know, when you're that's enough for this, you know, you're going to sell the biz, right? And maybe that day comes sooner. Like, I've done it, and it's freeing to know that you've got systems in place, but better yet, you end up getting a better price than you thought because you've built up the intangible of goodwill.
Absolutely.
Like, and that is, it's taking those extra steps of, hey, you know what, I'm going to give you a bike in a loaner, and then you build up your testimonials and your reputation with social proof. Now it's even easier to have proof. If somebody's going to buy your business, you just say, hey, take a look at this. Like, and it's I'm going to share my screen real quick, and I'll show you what I mean. I've kept, like, this is just, you see this testimonial page?
Yeah.
These are videos and documents, you know, and this is nothing. I go into my email, and if I go into testimonials of emails, it's huge.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And the whole point is, anyways. Yeah. If you don't have a testimonials folder, start one.
Okay.
Because, I mean, if I'm in the middle of a conversation and somebody says, because it's one of the objections that I'm actually going to be handling tomorrow in tomorrow's dojo. I've got a dojo today, and they're only in week 2, but tomorrow's dojo, they're in week 11, and one of their challenges is, you know, will this work for me? Or I'm not sure this is going to work for me. Hey, you know, and don't take my word for it.
Yeah.
Let other people speak for themselves. And it's just like, I've literally got hours of testimonials.
Yeah.
Just let it ride.
Gotcha.
And you could, like, do you have a TV screen in your?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, USB stick, play. And here's the thing. Every video testimonial that you get, you don't have to worry about putting it on the stick. Go to Upwork, go to Fiverr, get them to edit it. Like,
yeah.
Eliminate, automate, eliminate, delegate. Like, just you do you do your area of genius. Yeah, it's so freeing when you end up doing that stuff, and it amazes me. And you know some of these guys. I was talking with somebody not that far from you. They're not on the West Coast; they're on the East Coast. Great guy, been a dealer for a couple of years, and it wasn't uncommon for him to be there at 2 a.m. doing service because he didn't have a service guy.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, dude, do you want to be divorced?
Right.
Because that's what it's going to lead to. You're going to burn yourself out. You're going to end up hating being at work. And the idea is you got to have your business work around you and your personal life.
Yeah.
As opposed to you working around your business. And I know it feels that way right now because you got started, but when you make rules, and these are like non-negotiables, like Thursday nights, date night for Shauna and I, non-negotiable. It just, it's the best thing that we could have ever done for our relationship, and B, my sanity. So let's do a quick review. Okay. And then I think because Camry is not here, we'll see where we are in terms of the list. And then I do want to see where you guys are as far as some of the homework assignments that we wanted to get done for today. And but yeah, we'll just do a quick review, and then just for memory's sake, take about 5 minutes here. So, and again, this is what's great about the review. You never have to do it in any particular order. It's just to be able to put it back in the mind, put it back in your brain. So we talk about playing your A game, acknowledge you're the authority, you're accountable to each other, and highest energy wins when you're playing at top level. Belief, and having and understanding that it is powerful when you believe in what you're selling, which obviously you do. The power of your why. You have a passion for cycling, helping people, lifestyle, education, the vision of the eco-friendly planet, and having employees that you're actually helping. You've always dreamt of owning a shop, and the Pedego program is super. and you want to help the community, and you want to just share the love of it. The definition of your customer, which is great. We've got that pretty much nailed down. 50-year-olds, on a scale of 1 to 10, they're about a 5. They've got an okay health. They've got ailments. They're reasonably affluent. They're good negotiators. Rentals represent about 15% of your business. Why are they there? Because they're there to try, but you're the experts. They want good people. They want an opportunity to be served. They want to buy, but they want to deal with you, the trusted advisor, the authority, the expert. We talked about doing your process and cutting to the chase, getting a quote. That's part of your homework assignment. I talked to you about putting up a shop sign with your shop rate and your VIP rate. Talked to you about putting up a map with building in the value of free delivery. Here's your 4 quadrants that we'll end up touching upon in a quick set. Stretching you guys out of your comfort zone so you get into your money zone. Happy clients, happy, and everybody's happy when they're making money, because then you can do more. The importance of butts on bikes, absolutely critical. Are you finding it's easier now when you just say, hey, you know what, just for fun, come with me, let's go?
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a game changer. I'm stoked to hear that you've gone from already 10 to 15, and I don't know if that, hopefully this has had already an impact on that, which is outstanding. We just had the little brief conversation of, automate, delegate, eliminate, which is great. Anything that you can do to take work off your plate. And again, if it's a $10 task, you're the $100 man as the example, and realistically you want to be the $200 man or $300 man. If it's a $90 task and you're paid $100, you're still up by $10. So, area of genius, focus on it.
Gotcha.
Best, better, good versus good, better, best, or either or, and selling what's available today, right? Critical. You and I are going to jump into the SOS today, which is the 2-step system of acknowledge and ask a question. In the land of Pedego retail, and I think that because we might have a little bit more time, I'm going to give you a bit more insight into some other objections to some other Pedego stores we haven't had a chance. Okay. But in the land of Pedego retail, you're really delving into 3 major objections. The first one is your product's too expensive. The second one is what kind of deal can you give me? And the third one is I want to go home and do some research. Yeah. Right? So I'm going to show you a pattern that I've been able to create where we could literally step by step draw someone in without them realizing it, that we're going from, hey, you know what, your product's too expensive, and you're going to automatically, you're not even going to think about it. And it comes with practice. So you and I are going to we're going to step into the dojo today. But we're going to practice so that you'll have it muscle memory. Hey, thanks for letting me know how you feel. What exactly are we comparing it to? 9 times out of 10, they're going to go, I don't know. And then the truth will come out and they'll say, well, it's really that I can't afford it. Right? I can't afford it is not your product's too expensive. So I can't afford it. I would say, so what you're saying is you like the bike. Yeah. Okay. So if you had means to be able to purchase the bike, would you buy it? Yeah. Okay. So if I could show you a way to purchase this bike and you didn't have to pay any interest for 6 months and finance it, would you be willing to give that a try? Right?
Yeah.
And then it gets back to, well, I want to go home and do some research. Hey, I totally appreciate that you want to be well informed. What is it specifically that you want to go research that you and I didn't get a chance to talk about today? Acknowledge, ask a question. Again, it's similar to products too expensive. They're going to go, I don't know, because they don't know. Like the further they go down this ugly rabbit hole, which is the internet, the more confused they're going to get, which is why I tell people it's either or good, better, best, right? Like if they leave the store, that really gets scary, which is why follow-up for you is going to be critical. However, because we just want to draw them back in. We want them on the Pedego. That's it. So if we can help avoiding them from leaving, where they say, yeah, you know what, I want to go home and do some research. Adam, I totally appreciate that you want to be well informed, man. I'm curious though, what is it specifically you want to go research that you and I didn't get a chance to talk about today? And the subtext to that is because I'm the trusted advisor here. I'm the expert. So if you go online, do you realize that everything that you read online isn't true?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's like there's so much fake news out there. And so you're talking to the man. Like, and you have to play that A game. You're the authority, you're the expert, you're the man.
Yeah.
And Camry is the woman, you know what I mean? Like she's it. Like you guys are the pros.
Yeah, a lot of times I like to, if they insist on, doing more research or whatever, I'll kind of try to send them to the Pedego dealer owners page.
Of course, yeah.
Just like we had talked about that gentleman who rode the Ridge Rider, and then he went on there and was like, oh, sticker shock, and why this, and then all of the owners, gave him the justification.
Social proof.
Told him. Yeah. So I mean, so stuff like that's really cool too, because I mean, in a sense, if customers are having a really good response with it and they're in, love with the product, then they're going to probably take that more than they'll take my word, just because I'm a business owner. I'm trying to sell.
You're trying to sell them. Absolutely. So that's what's great. I mean, I like calling it stacking. You want to be stacking the odds in your favor. Yeah, go ahead. I'll pause it.
Hi.
You could, if you wanted to, you could look back over, or I could send it off to, and every interaction is different with people.
Yeah.
But I could send it off to somebody who could transcribe it. One of the tricks that I do when I look at my Zoom videos with my coach or any of the classes that I purchase is, or YouTube videos, I don't generally listen to it at regular speed. I you can choose double speed.
Okay.
So if something's an hour, I can get it done in 30 minutes. Nice. And I get all the content.
Yeah.
And if there's something that I need to listen back on, then okay, I can slow it down. Like you can have 1.25 speed or 1.5, 1.75 cool. speed. And so you can do that on your Zoom. You just go click and okay, what matters? And yeah. My coach gets his virtual assistant to look over the video, and then they'll put they kind of do a summary, like negotiation will be at, minute 38 to minute 45. And
gotcha.
Yeah, I don't, I suppose I could get Mitra to do that. So I have a virtual assistant that is in India.
Okay.
And yeah. And I mean, I recommend it. Game changing, just stuff that like, why would and I catch myself, Adam, I still do it. I spent yesterday, I thought, oh yeah, I'm doing this really cool social media post. I spent almost an hour for a 59-second video. Wow. Like, what the was I thinking? Total waste of my time.
Do you find that it's time-consuming training though? Like training them to do it?
Now, onboarding, that's a great question. So I will tell you this is just the story of hiring practices.
Yeah.
So the short-term pain of having to train someone, and even if you've got to go train someone for 2 weeks and go, this isn't working out, you're out, and then start over from scratch. That is nothing in comparison to you doing it all alone and not having a life. And you'll never scale. Like you'll never scale if you try to do it all alone. Yeah. Like I know it's called Army of One, but it's no different than Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week. There's no such thing as a 4-hour work week.
Yeah.
Bullshit. It's attractive. Well, Army of One's attractive. You could only be an Army of One for so long before you have to teach it to someone else on your team. That's really the point. Policies and procedures allow you to get to a point where, okay, I'm doing $750,000 in retail, or I'm doing $1 million in retail sales. I absolutely need staff, whether it's somebody in the marketing department, somebody in the service department, right? And wherever your area of genius is.
Yeah.
You can do it all. The question is, should you?
Yeah. Yeah. Just like, Camry's been in here a lot over the last, I guess, like really like 2 months maybe. but month and a half. And she, she keeps asking me how to, what she can help with and stuff like that. And, I try to explain it to her, some things, but I wind up like having to, sit over her to help her and watch her do it. And it's just like, I've been doing it for, almost 3 years now. So it makes things like things.
You're not even thinking, you're just doing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, but I mean, she's catching on little by little, but it's just like, doing an order, which I got to place an order today at 11:30.
Okay.
But it's like doing an order and like how you're supposed to list everything out and all, which she's catching on, but it's just, constant backtracking for me.
Right. And so this is a good conversation. I would encourage you to, it's challenging because perfection is something that's very, if you're like I am, you strive for it and you kind of have to stop and go, okay, not going to hit it. I'm a human being. I'm not going to be perfect. I am going to strive for excellence. And as Yoda has said, failure is, failure a good teacher is, right? The best thing you could do for Camry would be, hey, Camry, I want you to put the order in. I want you to put the order together, but don't put it in yet.
Yeah.
So but instead of you standing behind her over her shoulder, get out of the way, because you got to make it an environment where it's safe to make mistakes. And I've learned this from a good buddy of mine who used to be in the restaurant industry. He had a 2 strikes, you're out rule, not 3, 2. And again, 2 strikes on the same mistake.
Gotcha.
Like he had people they came in late, but they only came in late once. And then they dropped dishes or they turned something on in the oven way too long. So they would make a lot of mistakes, but they only made that mistake once.
Gotcha.
They never made it twice. They made it twice, you're out. That was his rule. He didn't have a 3 strikes rule. He had a 2 strikes rule. You know what? So managing people, you got to allow them, and it's tough. You got to allow them to make those mistakes. You can see them coming and you got to go, nope, I got to let them fall. But then there's a human element that we all have. And I know I used to go to Al-Anon. Al-Anon is for friends and family of alcoholics.
Okay.
And I found myself and this relates to business because I was an enabler and I was codependent. So I was I needed to make people happy. Well, you can't.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't allow them to mess up. And I was always finding myself like I was literally giving out until I finally just gave out.
Yeah.
If you're going to run your business, you've got to come to a place of allowing people to make the mistake. And then they have to be responsible and accountable of cleaning it up.
Yeah.
So, okay, tell you what, it's no different than Mr. and Mrs. Customer. I've got 15 minutes to deal with you today. You set up your time frame. Let's do it. It's staff member. I'm going to give you 30 minutes to put together this order or however you think. Like if it takes you 10 minutes to put an order together, it would take a staff member 2 to 3 times as long the first time. I'm going to go work on this project. I will come back here in 25 minutes and see where you're at. And then you do the quick review. Awesome. High five, celebrate the win. And then now you know, right?
Yeah.
I'm just using that as an example, but the more you can put in your policies and procedures manual in terms of how to do it, where they can have a reference manual, the faster it is for you to scale, the easier it's going to be for you to sell your business.
Gotcha.
So like the sales template that I gave you, it's just here's how to sell. But even the store opening, we literally, it was unlock door, hit code, turn lights on, music goes on. It was literally step by step. In fact, this is how anal retentive I can be. You go to my cabin and I have a green binder up in the corner. My kids know exactly where it is because there's a checklist. Because if I'm not there, the rule that my family has is, and I've learned this from my own father, you always leave it better than you found it.
For sure.
So it's like, okay, here's the checklist: how you open the cabin, how you close the cabin. So if I'm not there one weekend, I don't want to show up to a shit show. It better be exactly or better the way than the way I found it. Which my children, God bless them, they're on it. I can leave them alone, and they also know there's things that they're not allowed to touch yet because they don't know how to operate it, like my boat and stuff.
Yeah.
Forget it. You know, and same thing. Give them. You've got a checklist of this is how it's done. They can't mess it up. If they mess it up, then they have to be accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
All right. So, question.
Before we get on that, I got one more, like, kind of, it's not really an objective question, but like, how would you deal with this?
Yeah, talk to me.
So when we were out of town, we had a couple come in. They live, I think in Johnson City or like up near Knoxville, so a little ways away from us, about 2 hours at least from us.
Yeah, I'm looking at the map. That's all. Yeah, go ahead.
And when we were out of town, spoke with our guys, and they gave them, great information, everything. And then they came back in the Sunday that we returned.
Okay.
And they wound up they decided that they wanted 2 stretches, one each.
Right.
And,
yeah, you mentioned this last week, I think.
Yeah. So they put deposits down on them.
Yeah.
We just asked for $1,000 deposits. And so, because they weren't available until, July 30th or whatever. So then a couple days later, this was, midweek last week, the husband comes in and is like, again, and he's like, hey, I think my wife changed her mind. She wants to do an interceptor. She wants to do the mineral blue. And I was just like, okay, yeah, we can do that. Like, I'm pretty sure that those will be available a little bit sooner than yours and everything. And so he was like, okay, great. Well, we'll just, the deposit still stands. We'll, swap the price.
We'll just apply it towards the interceptor versus the stretch.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he comes in this Saturday again, just him. And he's like,
on a Saturday.
Yeah. He's like, sorry to do this, but I think we're going in a different direction. He's like, the product's great and everything. I just think that we're wanting something different. And he's like, also, Lance, my buddy, he was like, he told me that the product is made here in the United States and stuff like that. And he's like, after doing research, I found out that, the parts are made in China and now the frames are made in Vietnam. And he just like kind of had like an attitude about it. He's like, I'm a John Deere dealer and I really pride myself on American made products and blah, blah, blah. I was just like, yeah, well, you know what, sir, like, I mean, 99% of bikes are made overseas, and especially the components, 100% of the components are made overseas. And he was like, yeah, well, whatever. Like, didn't really give me a definitive answer on it and everything. So I screwed up and we didn't have a policy in place for refunds. Such as that. And so I wound up, I ate 5% on, or whatever, the credit card fee, the transaction fee on the initial $2,000. And then I did not charge him basically a refund fee, which I should have.
Yeah.
Because I just straight up gave him $2,000 back. So now I have 2 transaction fees, and a refund fee is more expensive than a regular transaction. So I lost money on that and I didn't get any sale. And then Saturday evening, I'm on Instagram and I see Pedego Blue Ridge, and this couple is at Pedego Blue Ridge, just bought 2 Platinum Interceptors. Yeah. But the bad part is not that, it's the fact that he lied to you. In and around lying to me.
Yeah.
And
totally.
then also, I'm the closest dealer by 2 hours to him, at least. So he's going to want to come to me for service because that's the Pedego motto. You know what I mean? We all service the bikes. So how do I deal with that, knowing that he just straight up lied to my face? And,
so there's a couple. This will lead into the SOS conversation, Adam. And I think this is this is obviously not something that's going to happen often.
And I want to call Chris too, and over at Blue Ridge, and see if he dealt with them, but also see, you know, if there was some sort of an issue that we did, like that they had with us.
Yeah, because that's, you know, what comes to mind, number one, is if he does come to you for service, you've got your shop rate, right? Yeah. You got your shop rate and your VIP rate. He's definitely not VIP.
Yeah.
You got to, it's like, sorry, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And granted, it's a Pedego, but just know that if one of my purchasing clients that bought from me, they get front of the line. That's just got to be your policy. Because this kind of behavior is unacceptable. He's a John Deere dealer. I mean, how does, you know, I would be curious, and you know, I'd be curious to find out, like, it just boggles my mind that a guy who's in business like you are would pull this off.
Absolutely.
And I don't think Chris is the type of guy that would, again, anyways. So let's take a step back into this situation and using the SOS, because we want to find out what the actual underlying challenge is.
Yeah.
So my sense would be that your friends that helped them out and serviced them and took the deposit and everything else, I think that they
took the deposit. They came back here and gave us the deposit.
Okay.
And
so your friends
for another hour probably here in the shop doing that.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, you know, so lesson learned, you know, are you taking 100% fully refundable deposit, or if the order is placed, then their policy is, if you ask for, if the deposit would then have a refund charge to cover credit card charges, which I don't think is unreasonable at all if somebody's going to take that step. So let's go backwards. The first objection is that he said that it was made overseas.
Well, so I'm not exactly sure what my buddy Lance told him, other than, you know, he knows that the brand is US based, that we're a USA brand. So I think he just ran with that and told him that. And so then he's just like, oh, so it's like the whole entire scheme of things is done in the United States, which,
right.
I mean, how many companies does that actually happen for? I mean, you know what I mean?
So we got to remember that when emotions go up, intelligence goes down. I've been in a position where I've had someone come back in and say, hey, you know what, Joe, I like you, or they come in and they're feeling slighted. Now, this is just my read. I think this guy felt that, and for whatever the reason, he's gone out and he kept calling dealers, clearly, locally. He obviously got a better price. I mean, at the end of the day, you're telling me he's on Instagram and he bought the bikes that he wanted, because
they weren't even the bikes that they were looking at. They weren't.
I was going to say, because the bikes that they bought were in stock and they walked out with them. Yeah. So they were convinced to get something else, but they still bought Pedegos. So I come back to when he said, we've not changed our mind. We decided, how did he put it? We're going in another direction.
We decided to go in another direction.
Okay. Yeah. So right there, I would say, okay, well, I'm kind of surprised by your decision. What is it specific? What direction specifically are you going into?
Yeah.
And I would just, and I want to hear what they have to say. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, you know, when I hear somebody say to me, okay, you know what, Joe, I want a refund, my first reaction is, WTF?
Yeah.
What did I do wrong? And I take it on. It's about me. It's about me. It's about me. And the true response needs to be, it's not about me. It's about them. And the radio station they're listening to is WIIFM. What's in it for me?
Yeah.
Right? So you got to go immediately, acknowledge, ask a question. Go right back into the SOS. Acknowledge and ask a question. So it's like, okay, acknowledge the person. Well, so you can say, you know what, I'm sorry to hear that you're taking this, you've decided that you're going into a different direction. What's prompting you to do that?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, if he's going to, now the problem is that we don't know what his answer would have been. What's prompting you to do that? It's like getting ghosted on a phone call, or somebody saying, I don't have the time, or somebody saying, you know what, I got to cancel my appointment. Like, I had that happen on occasion with me, and I know how to handle it now.
Yeah.
Right. Somebody says, hey, you know what, I can't make this phone call. And even on direct message on Instagram with some of my Instagram posts, somebody sets up a call with me on Calendly, and then they'll cancel. I had a guy in Spain just recently cancel with me, and what was his name? It was for last Friday. Oh my God, I don't want to spend too much time on this. Luis. So I said, hey, Luis, you know what? Totally appreciate you letting me know that you're canceling. Or no, how did I put it? No, I got notification from Calendly that you're canceling. Sorry to hear that. What changed? Question mark. Just what changed?
Yeah. Yeah, I should have been, I don't know why, but yeah, just kind of, we were so flustered that day. Like I was running around, you know, chicken with my head cut off.
Saturday.
Camry didn't know how to do the refund. And like, I was doing something, and like, I noticed that he came in, and I sort of heard the conversation. I was just like, I mean, I don't know, that they seemed like problem people in general too.
Well, yeah, but still.
And I'm guessing that they pulled the trigger on bikes that were available. That's what I'm guessing, because all we had was a Sandstone Interceptor. We didn't have any Platinums anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm guessing that they wanted something now.
I think, but it would have been nice to have been able to find that out.
Exactly.
Because ultimately, let's face it, Adam, I mean, if you really needed to get the product now, there's other dealers that you could do a stock transfer with.
Exactly.
Like this. So it comes back to, this is what I love about the SOS. I can take in the information, and this is just information for you in the future.
Yeah.
Get a 3x5 card, write down the objection that you've just heard. Like, if it's because this isn't a common one. We've decided to go in a different direction. Like, that to me is acknowledge, I'm really sorry to hear that. 2, what specific direction are you going into? Let's just find out. And if the direction is, well, there's no way that because they're definitely buying bikes.
Yeah.
Right. And if they say, well, we're still going to go out and do some research. I mean, at that point, I would be confused. I'd go, you know what? I can totally appreciate that you want to be well informed. So you can go down the rabbit hole by creating a flow chart.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the flow chart of the SOS is essentially, hey, you know what? Your product's too expensive. Like, the way I see it, your product's too expensive. Thanks for letting me know how you feel. What exactly are we comparing it to? Well, I'm not really comparing it to anything. The truth is, you know, I want to actually just go home and do some research. Hey, totally appreciate that you want to be well informed. What is it specifically you want to research that we didn't get a chance to talk about today? I don't know. And then I know at that point they're lying.
Yeah.
Because they are.
Just avoiding the situation.
The fact of the matter is that what they want to go research is see if they can go on this bloody device and see if they can find it cheaper.
Yeah.
And so I just cut to I come back to cut to the chase wherever I left that, cut to the chase. And I go, okay, so Adam, before you go, my sense is that, you know, because you want to go home and do some research, but you really don't know what you want to go research. Are you just looking to see if you can get a better price? I'm just going to cut to the chase.
Yeah.
And you know what? If they've got any grapefruits at all, right, they're going to say, well, yeah, I just want to make sure I get the best deal possible. Then I would say, I appreciate that you're looking for a good deal. What exactly did you have in mind? So you notice that I've acknowledged and asked a question, and I'm ready. And that's the whole beauty of the SOS is preparation, so that it's muscle memory. At that point, they don't even realize what we've done. And if you look back on this recording, what the flow is going to be the same. What you'll see is we've been able to counter the objection by asking a question, and then seeing that we can actually take them down the road to start the negotiation process.
Yeah.
So this guy who's a John Deere dealer has clearly negotiated with people before. He's essentially in the automobile industry, and he's shopped around, and he got convinced because he got on the phone with somebody who said, listen, I can get you a better deal. That's got to be what happened.
Yeah, well, I mean, not only he had to have called Blue Ridge, they wouldn't have just driven an extra 2 hours over to Blue Ridge just to drive. So they called them to see what was available. I'm sure they called Nashville, and I've heard that they're a little low on certain bikes and stuff. But yeah. So I don't know. It really, it pissed me off. Not so much that they pulled out, just the fact that he lied to me and went
that's the problem.
The Blue Ridge rather than trying to let me help him.
Yeah. I mean, this leads to taking a deep breath and going, okay, do you A, chalk it up for learning? B, you got to ask yourself, I mean, listen, I don't like losing deals either. But then you got to ask yourself, do I want this guy as a customer? Because every customer that you have is a VIP in my eyes. Yeah. And if they're not the type of customer that you want, then it's okay. Because you're still up. You're at 50% over goal. It is what it is, and you just go. And you gotta be able to go next, because this type of stuff can grate on you. What's the lesson that we get out of this? Hey, I'm changing direction. We've decided to change directions. A, you've already got the policy in place so that you're going to cover your ass and you're not going to lose money on the transaction. But before the transaction gets done, it's, you know what, I'm really sorry to hear that you're changing, or you've changed your mind. What direction are you going into? And I would write those down, and I can send you something in regards to that. Okay. Because I find that's a very interesting objection.
Yeah, I think I'm going to call Blue Ridge today and see if Chris is there, or see who dealt with him and see what I can find out. Just for my curiosity. I mean, just like we talked about, it's not like, obviously either they were price shopping or they just pulled trigger on some bikes that were available, or we did something wrong. I don't know.
I don't think you did anything wrong. I mean, based on all of the data that you, and I'm just writing this down because again, this is why I do the exercise for myself, and again, I teach it. So and I'll send it to you in the email post meeting. What direction are you going into?
Yeah, when they came in the first time that we dealt with them, they were all happy and ecstatic and stuff. They were just like, oh, like, my buddy Lance was still here. He came in to kind of show help us understand what all was going on. We had 15 sticky notes on the desk, so he was here walking us through things. And then they came in, and he continued to help them a little bit. And I was like, hey man, I'm gonna let you do this since you've already dealt with them. But I wound up, he had extra questions, so I wound up chipping in. And then then they seemed super happy. Like I said, they were both settling on stretches, or wanted stretches that weren't available until July 30th via corporate. So there's no telling, if they just needed something quicker, wanted to get riding, or they had a trip, or, but for whatever.
I don't think that there's anything wrong with you reaching out to Blue Ridge and just getting the information so that you can calm your mind. Yeah. I mean, you're lucky in that regard that you could be able to find out, because what would go through my head would be like, WTF, did they go to another, like if they went to another brand, that I could maybe go, okay, well, something happened. But they went with Pedego, which tells me you and your team did everything right up front. Yeah. And then what other logical position would they have other than price? Yeah. I mean, I can understand with COVID, price and or availability, but you're telling me they went with other bikes, which you have other bikes.
Yeah. Yeah. They went in a completely different, like, I don't know if he had mentioned it to Lance whenever they were in here the first time, but there was no mention of platinums whatsoever. And I mean, we may not have even had them in. Maybe he just started doing his research on them after the fact. But I don't know. Yeah.
So, and again, I mean, now that you have the best, better, good option, you've got this guy who's going to want. If he's a John Deere dealer, he's clearly wealthy. Yeah. So he can afford it. And again, it comes back to, hey, we decided to change direction. like the practice on this one right now is, hey, sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, Adam. What direction are you taking?
Yeah.
Let's just find out. That's the whole basis of the SOS. Let's peel away the layers of the onion so we can actually get down to what the problem is, so I can offer you a solution. And the solution is, and let's discuss this a little bit. Does that make sense, by the way? What I just offered as feedback?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that, it's like somebody saying, I'm canceling my appointment. Hey, I'm sorry to hear that you're canceling. What's changed?
Yeah.
And by the way, this guy said, well, he's a personal trainer in Spain. And he said, my gym owner knows you because I did a podcast with somebody called Two Brain Business. And I'm supposed to be speaking at their event in September. Well, I don't even know if the event's even going to take place. And I said, well, okay. I said, I do appreciate the fact that you want to see me live. That doesn't change anything for you now. How are you looking to be able to improve your sales now?
Yeah.
Right. And then my dojo cost is going up. And I said, what would your gym owner prefer? Paying $297 a month or $397 a month? Let me know what they say. And they haven't gotten back to me.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if they change their mind, they've changed their mind. I mean, but I've done what I can next.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, what is, I want to come back to this real quick.
Yeah.
Did you and Cameron have a chance to get those quotes done?
We did not.
Okay, that's honest.
So we have, I'll show you my screen real quick, so we have this little sticky note right here.
Yep.
So that basically is all of the things that we recommend as far as what we carry.
Okay.
But we took a picture of that to take home with us. And, yesterday we were up here for like 4 hours and we took the computer home.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then we did go on a date night last night and stuff. So
good, man.
But yes, we're definitely going to do that. And we got a map. We got this, but it's not what we need. So like one portion of it, one side is basically just the greater Chattanooga area, and half, like the east side the west side of Chattanooga is all cut off. So it's not really a good way to hit a good circle. I just need to get.
Yeah, you can probably find something either on Google Map or get a print shop to print it off on Google Map and laminate it.
Yeah.
It's not going to cost you a lot of money to do it. So you could probably do that at like a Kinko's or a UPS store and just say, listen, I want this. I want it printed out. Like they can do it on the cheap and just say, but now laminating it might cost you a few bucks, but then you have it forever.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because if you want to change your pricing, you can. You don't have to go out and buy another one. So that's
okay.
Right. So here's where I wanted to lead this conversation down, and that's the negotiation strategy. Because from what I can see, we haven't talked about that yet, and it's this. And so we're going to talk SOS, but part of the SOS is also understanding for you as a business owner, and because this conversation with this guy, and I can't get over how I'm actually effing irritated for you. But I am. I'm actually really pissed off. Because I've been there. It's totally bringing up memories. Wow. So the negotiation strategy, it would have been really cool to be able to find out what the direction that he was taking and then head it off at the pass.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, if he's kind of in this automobile type of industry with the John Deere thing, he's having to shave, something off to be able to, and again, this customer that we talk about, these guys, they're negotiators. I actually have that up on the notes.
Yeah.
Right. So they're 50 plus years old. They're locals. They're affluent. They've probably gone to school. They purchased by desire. They're homeowners. 80,000 plus annual income. Their health is okay. 50% of them are imports, meaning that they're not necessarily born and raised, but then negotiators is on the list. And this is what's interesting. What kind of deal can you give me is where you actually want to lead your client. Because what kind of deal can you give me is an ask to buy question.
Gotcha.
Just saying that I want a deal, like I want to buy it. in the case of this guy, it's had we been able to find out, hey, you know, I'm sorry that you're changing direction. What direction are you going into? Now, and if he said, hey, I'm actually able to buy it from another dealer, I would go, okay, hang on a second. And then I would say, how important is service to you to be able to have it close by, right? And then create stack value, and then ultimately what we need to do, and you don't necessarily have to decide today. However, it would be wise to have this negotiation strategy ready, and this is the part of the SOS process. When you have somebody who says, hey man, what kind of deal can you give me? Are you firm or are you flexible?
I'm usually pretty firm. Yeah.
Okay. So your price, right? So the price question, you're firm.
Yeah. I know it all depends on, you know, their tone, what they're looking at, you know,
Sure.
Everything kind of plays in for me, at least.
Yep. So if somebody says to you, what kind of deal can you give me? This is how I look at it. And I'm just going to give you a scenario and I'm going to allow you to process. Yep. And again, you don't have to decide today, and you can still be firm in this approach. When somebody says, okay, and I'm going to write this down so you can see it. And this is SOS. So, what kind of deal can you give me? Which, by the way, this can be disguised in a variety of ways. You know, does this ever go on sale? What's my price? Is that your best price? It's what kind of deal can you give me? Okay. Two-step process. Step one is acknowledge. Step two, ask a question. So step one, right, acknowledge is, I appreciate you're looking for a good deal. And I have this written down for you, but I'm doing this for a reason. Yeah. I appreciate you are looking for a good deal. Step two, what exactly did you have in mind? You're not saying that you're giving them a deal yet. Yeah. You're just simply saying, what exactly did you have in mind? And this is where Mr. John Deere a-hole could be completely unreasonable with his expectations. For sure. And you could let him know that. So, and you'll see what I mean. What exactly did you have in mind, or do you have in mind, right? The beauty of asking the question is that it opens up the dialogue as opposed to closed, they've made a decision and they're leaving. So what kind of deal can you give me? Hey, I appreciate you're looking for a good deal, Adam. What exactly did you have in mind? This is where down here, you're still holding your cards. Yeah. Like up here, you're telling me, hey, I'm firm with my price. And I'll tell you what, when it comes to a bike, I wouldn't discount the bike, but hear me out on this. If somebody says to me, you know, well, can you throw in a Sena helmet? And or can you, right? A Sena helmet's $129. Yeah. And what you want is you want to have a scale. The scale of $0 to whatever the number is. So hear me out. What's your best? Because price is, you know, these people want to feel like they've got a deal. They negotiate for. There's a reason why affluent people are great negotiators, and I'm getting better at it. I feel bad when I ask for a deal from people because I understand where they are because I've been a small business owner. I get it. Yeah. I just got my oil changed on the weekend. On the weekend? On Friday. When did I get it done? Doesn't matter. It was Saturday. Saturday. And I just want to give you this example. Yeah. The guy changed the filter, like the air filter in like for the inside of the car. Yeah. And I went to Mr. Lube, so they're getting it done. And I look over at the screen and it was $69.99 for an inner air filter. And I went,
Wow.
you want $70 for a filter that I could easily go over to, in Canada, we have Canadian Tire and Part Source. I said, I could go and get that filter right now for less than half of the price. That like you can take that filter out. Yeah. And they said, well, the manager came over and I said, I'm not raising a stink. I'm just saying I find $70 is absolutely outlandish for that. And he goes, well, if I knock off $30, do you want to take it? And then I factored in my time and I said, done. Right? Yeah. I just it's not worth my time. Even at that price of now, $40, it was still, I probably could have picked it up for, $30, but the $10 difference, they've done it. And wasn't worth it to me. But lesson learned. Next time I need an air filter, I could go buy an extra air filter at Canadian Tire and leave it in stock in my garage. Yeah. But the point is, I asked, and they buckled. They could have said no, but they buckled. Here's the beauty of this guy. He was obviously there's something that happened there. Maybe he put a deposit in Blue Ridge. I don't know. There's details that are missing. I'd love to be a fly on the wall for your conversation with Chris.
I'll tell you about it in the morning.
Yeah, and and if it wasn't Chris, then it's either it could be John or Hart.
Okay.
Yeah, John and Hart are the owners, and Chris is the manager, right? Okay. So, yeah, and I mean, I could see Hart doing something in that regard. By the way, I don't see Chris, but maybe I'm wrong.
And I mean, and maybe they just had the available bikes. Maybe there was no deal, maybe it was just bikes today.
They want, yeah. But then it surprises me that this guy didn't come to you. And again, there's details that are missing.
Yeah.
What kind of deal can you give me? I appreciate you're looking for a good deal, Adam. What exactly did you have in mind? And if somebody says, hey, can you knock off $500? This will tell the story. I'll just go, I just told you to F off without telling you to F off, right? Because 55% of the way we communicate is body language. Yeah. So if I'm on the phone and somebody says, can you give me $500 off? Now, if for whatever reason $500 was your number here, maybe to me that's high. But a number that has been floating around in the land of Pedego, and I'll just share it with you, is $300.
Yeah, that's what I was.
That's the limit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's usually my my go-to is either the battery upgrade or $300 in accessories, which essentially we're only losing 150 and not 80.
So the negotiation tactic that I have is, here are my cards, and they're like this, right? So whatever I've got for cards, I'm playing them like this. What kind of deal can you give me? Adam, I totally appreciate that you're looking for a good deal. What exactly do you have in mind? Can you throw in a set of helmet and a pump? Well, I know that's under $300. So I would immediately say, so what you're saying is, if I can get you that set of helmet and a pump, you're going to buy right now?
Gotcha.
And I'm saying right now, not today, it's now. And the deal is done.
Gotcha.
So what you're saying is, if I can blank, you're going to buy now. Total uncomfortable silence. You've got to live in it. Yeah. It's absolutely terrible. It's hard. Trust me, man. The best thing you can do is just shut up.
Yeah.
Did I tell you the story about that guy with the expensive treadmill? He wanted the best treadmill money could buy?
I don't think so.
Okay. So, it relates to this.
Okay.
Guy walks into my specialty fitness store, and he says, what's the best treadmill money can buy? His name was Tony. Never forget this story. I share it often. And I said, sure, I'll show you. And I brought him over to this Trotter treadmill. It was a Trotter 685, $8,000 Canadian for a home. It was usually a health club treadmill. It was a type of treadmill where if you did buy it for home, we'd have to get an electrician in and go from 110 to 220. I mean, it was a beast, but it was a health club. So I showed off this treadmill, and within 15 minutes, I goes, I got him on it, got him to try it. He loved it. It was a tank. And again, it was one of those things where he had the money.
Yeah.
Right. He was affluent. So, he asked the question, what's the best treadmill money could buy? Yep. Let me take you to the best one. Here's a health club unit, $8,000. So what do you think? You want to take it? It's not saying anything.
Gotcha.
I shit my pants. I totally crap myself, and I go, let me go see what I can do. And I go over to my desk, right? I go to the counter, and I click, and I come back, and again, it's the valuable lesson. I knock off 10%, just like that. There's $800 gone.
Yeah.
And he's got me. I'm right. He's reeling me in.
Yeah.
And and this is what he does. I said, I can give you 10% off. So what do you think, Tony? And he goes, The silence is killing me. And I go, I'll be right back. I went back 2 more times and knocked off $350, then another $3. Like I knocked off $1,500. Okay. And finally, he goes, Joe, I'll take it. And he's smiling. We walk up to the counter. I'm all my margins gone within minutes.
Yeah.
And he goes, Joe, can I give you a piece of advice? And I said, sure, Tony, what's that? And he goes, I was ready to pay full price. Oh yeah, man. Yeah. The F word I was screaming it in the back of my mind, but it was a great lesson. And he goes, at first, I was just trying to figure out what credit card I had the room on and what was going to be the best option for points, right?
Yeah.
And then when I moved first. So I decided for him. It wasn't a question of win-lose. I just made a decision without holding my ground and just shutting. That's it. What kind of deal can you give me? I appreciate you're looking for a good deal. What exactly do you have in mind? And then they name a price. Back then I didn't have this strategy. Yeah. Trust me when I tell you I have a strategy in place now. And there's nothing wrong with being firm on your price, by the way. Yeah. It's actually great. Now but there's a variety of ways. See, I don't believe in discounting, but I'll stack value.
Yeah.
So for example, I had a guy who he's a copywriter, and I did Army of One sales training with him. And to close the deal, I gave him a month of the SOS Dojo for free.
Okay.
The cost for me is negligible because I've already got other people in the dojo and I'm already there teaching it anyways. So no problem. Come on in for a month, Daniel. You're going to get tons of value. Yeah. And I know that he's going to love it so much. He's already sent me a testimonial, which is even greater. And because of what he learned. And I posted it on Instagram already. And what's even better is that I know he's going to start paying me to stay in it because he's getting value from it. So it's a win. Same thing. What I learned from Tony, he said Tony back in his younger days, back in when I was in that particular time, he was a cloner of computers.
Okay.
So back when, do you remember the cloned computers?
Yeah.
See this white hair? Yeah. So
I've got some already too.
Yeah. Dude, I have daughters. Okay. That's where that comes from.
Yeah.
So he would tell his sales team anytime that a customer would ask, anytime that anybody got to a point where do you want to take it, or you ask the closing question, it is the old school was whoever speaks first loses. Yeah. The new school is whoever speaks first makes a decision. There's a great clip from the movie Boiler Room where Ben Affleck comes in and he gives everybody crap in the meeting room and he says, a sale is made on every call you make. Either you're selling them some stock or they're selling you on why they're not buying it. Either way, a sale is made. And that's the truth. Gotcha. In this context, when somebody says, what kind of deal can you give me? They're interested. All we got to do now is iron out the details. The beauty of having this in place is I know what my bottom line is.
Gotcha.
So I can say to somebody, what kind of deal can you give me? Well, I appreciate you looking for a good deal, Adam. What exactly do you have in mind? Can you do over? If it's over this number, I can just go, listen, Adam, then acknowledge, ask a question. Adam, I totally appreciate that you're looking for an incredible deal that unfortunately would put me out of business. What would be a win-win that would be in a realm of possibility for both of us? And I would put it right back, and I still got my hand. Because here's the thing with a guy like Mr. John Deere. The second that you show your hand, he's got you.
Yeah.
So you get to play it like this, right? And you just keep coming back until they come into your realm of possibility. If they don't walk into the realm of possibility, there's no deal.
Yeah.
The other option is that you can say, can you knock $300 off the bike? You can say, tell you what, if I knock $300 off the total invoice, you willing to do something with me now? And I said total invoice because I'm going to use accessories. I didn't say bike. Now, on the invoice, you could, knock $300 off the bike and then charge full price for a slew of accessories, which is the whole point of having the quote, by the way.
Yeah.
Because the beauty of having the quote is I can say, well, here's your quote. And then I can say, so the first thing is, what kind of deal can you give me? Go ahead if you need to go. Yeah. I'll pause it. I hope you're feeling great. So the idea of this strategy is, what kind of deal can you give me? The first step would be use your quote and say, hey, you know what? I totally appreciate that you're looking for a great deal, Adam. What is it off of our list that we can take off to save you money? So now I'm not even discounting.
Yeah.
I'm using the value of this exercise that I wanted you guys to do. So I know you'll get it done. And then I can just scratch off stuff.
Yeah.
And now I'm not discounting at all.
Gotcha.
Of course, Mr. John Deere, who can be, a grinder, and now we're prepared for the grinder. No sweat. Now I want a better price off of the bike itself. You know what? I appreciate that you're looking for a great deal off of the bike. What exactly did you have in mind? And you know that you've got this list of accessories, which of course $300 off worth of accessories really only cost you $150.
Yeah.
And when you do something like this, when I go to share my screen here, my friend, and we use a quote like this as the example, right? It's not just the bike and the battery. Here's the whole quote.
Yeah.
Well, and they may say, well, I don't want that, and I don't want that, and I don't want that. But you've got all of this stuff to play with. This helps stack the deal in your favor. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a negotiation strategy, but it's also a strategy that creates win-win, because ultimately I've encountered this countless times. And I when I spoke at CABDA back in January, February, and in twice in February, I asked people, how many of you have ever sold a bike only to have people come back in with a box full of accessories that they bought, and they've asked you to do the install? And everybody's like, ugh. And it's like, okay, sorry to tell you, but that's your fault.
Yeah.
Because you didn't stack the value on the original quote, because you didn't even have a quote to begin with. Because what most, like you've got that little piece of paper, it's a system that's right by your counter, which is great. It's because most dealers, as you probably know, they're flying without a radar. So they're coming in and they go, okay, great. So you're taking the platinum, and do you want a helmet? It's like, no, it's not. Do you like? Congratulations, you're taking the bike. Like, the deal is done in the sense of congratulations. Now what you say is, okay, so here's the quote. Most people are going to get a helmet because you've only got one brain and you need a brain bucket. So you're going to get a helmet, right? Like, I'm not saying, do you want one? I'm the trusted advisor. I'm the pro. I'm the authority. You got to tell them, this is what you need. And then you also need this, and you go through it. The customer at that point has already made the choice to buy the big item, the $3,000 or $4,000 bike. So all these sub $1,000 items only help your blended margin,
sure,
which is great, but it also stacks the value to them, because the last thing you want is for them to come back in with a box of stuff that they bought on Amazon. Yeah. So you're not selling them. You're offering them an opportunity for the full Pedego experience. And you got to believe that, because if you think this is selling them, then you'll never sell those accessories, and your store inventory margin is going to suck in comparison to where it could be, because that customer asks for a freaking deal. They just do.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yep, absolutely.
So you got to have that quote ready. And so what kind of deal can you give me? I appreciate you looking for a good deal. What exactly do you have in mind? So let's practice this one out, Adam.
Okay.
Okay? So how it's going to work, and this is what we do in the dojo, is can you read this?
Yep.
You should have it on. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to say to you, what kind of deal can you give me? You're going to read my chicken scratch.
Okay.
We're not going to role play anything past that. We're just going to work the words right now.
Okay.
Back and forth, because we're going to work the muscle memory. So, and then when we get to here, so you're going to say it to me first, and you'll see what happens. I get to here, and then I'm going to say to you, what kind of deal can you give me? And we're just going to go back and forth about 5-6 times just to practice it. So you say to me, what kind of deal can you give me? Go ahead.
What kind of deal can you give me on my purchase?
You know what, Adam, I totally appreciate that you're looking for a good deal. What exactly did you have in mind? Adam, what kind of deal can you give me?
I appreciate you're looking for a good deal. What exactly did you have in mind?
Back to me. Go.
What kind of deal can you give me?
Adam, I totally appreciate that you're looking for a good deal, man. Curious, though, what exactly did you have in mind? Hey, so Adam, is that your best price?
I appreciate you're looking for a good deal. What exactly did you have in mind?
Back to me.
Oh, what kind of deal can you give me?
You know what, Adam, I totally appreciate you're looking for a good deal, man. What exactly did you have in mind? Hey, so do these ever go on sale?
I appreciate you're looking for a good deal. What exactly did you have in mind?
Back to me.
What kind of deal can you give me?
I appreciate you're looking for a great deal, Adam. I'm curious, what exactly did you have in mind? So what kind of deal can you give me?
I appreciate you looking for a good deal. What exactly did you have in mind? What kind of deal can you give me?
That's it, right? I know it sounds repetitive, but trust me, it's going to get into your brain so that when you hear it, you're ready. Here's another one. What kind of deal can you give me if I buy 2? Well, based on this, the answer is 300 off each bike.
Yeah.
If you say 3, it's 300 off each bike. The whole point is when you have your this becomes policy. Good morning, sunshine. How are you?
I'm all right. How are
You feeling okay?
Yeah, could be better.
A little bit of ginger or Pepto-Bismol, you'll feel okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of water, and when all else fails, go back home and rest, because that's, you got this one body temple. You got to take care of it. So we're going over strategy. We're going over the SOS on price. And Adam was kind enough to share with me the story about Mr. John Deere, who bought in Blue Ridge. So we went over, and interestingly, the sales objection system is going to help you for the future. Number one, we talked about policy. So we know that right now you guys have a policy in place. If you take a deposit and you're going to give somebody a refund on a special order bike, there's a fee involved. And you might want to have that, by the way. We used to do this at Fitness Depot. We would have in fine print on the bottom of an invoice, if a deposit was made, there'd be a little asterisk, so they got it in writing. Knowing that if they ever turned around and you could say, that's on your invoice. So I'm sorry, but that's our policy. You have it in writing. I'm happy to give you your refund minus 5% or whatever, right? Or and put your restocking fee policy on paper. That way, if they have some kind of deposit slip, that's going to help you. Do you want me to put that up on your quadrants, or you got it?
I'm writing it down now, and I'll actually go into our system after we get off and
yeah, that way it's done. And so one of the challenges that we've run into, Camry, is that and I've seen this in retail in general. We talked about who our customer is earlier, and previously, I don't know if you could see this word down here in purple, negotiators, right? Mr. John Deere is clearly a negotiator, and a lot of your clients are. So they're going to ask this question often: what kind of deal can you give me? And using the SOS, right, we're going to acknowledge and ask a question. I appreciate that you're looking for a good deal. What exactly did you have in mind? And then what we've done is we've started the process of putting together a policy of your realm of possibility off of invoice, not off of the bike, because you're firm on the price of the bike, off of total invoice. And I just threw out the number 300 because it's been popular in the realm of Pedego. You guys, there's been some Pedego stores. It's like, no, it's $100.
Yeah.
Which means, $300 off of accessories is really $150 your cost, right? So what kind of deal can you give me? I appreciate you're looking for a good deal. What exactly did you have in mind? This gives you the opportunity to hold your cards tight to the chest, and you already know that your bottom line is going to be $300 off. If they go over your $300, you can use this powerful tool, body language, to respond without telling them that they're effing crazy. Whereas like, can you give me $500 off? Who am I telling you? Telling you to take a hike. So I would say, listen, Camry, I totally appreciate that you want to be shrewd and grind it and be able to get a phenomenal deal that unfortunately would not be sustainable for our business. Acknowledge. What would be the question after that? What would be a solution that would be win-win for both of us that we could come up with? And I've still got my cards here because I know this is my bottom line. Because had I turned around and said, tell you what, I'll give you 300, Mr. John Deere is the type of guy who's going to run with it, and he's going to grind because he wants to get better than everybody else. So you don't show your hand, okay? Because they're negotiators, these people. And so the objection that they came with on Saturday of all days, of course, because it's only the busiest day of the week, and both of you are running around like chickens with your heads cut off, and you're one-legged people in a butt-kicking contest. So that just looks great. Just do the visual on that. And then somebody says to you, hey, you know what, Camry, we've had a change of heart. We're going to have a change of direction, and we'd like a refund. The logical response to me, obviously your emotions go up, intelligence goes down, right? The first thing that happens is like, oh my God, I got to give them their money back. What did we do wrong? And it goes crazy. If you practice it like we just practiced back and forth, Adam, you're going to be able to go, stay cool. Doesn't mean that you're not going to feel the emotions, but you can have a response where it's like, wow, I'm really sorry to hear that. And I wrote this down, and I'll send it to you. What direction are you taking? And let's find out. Because I think what could have happened is, well, you know what, we found bikes somewhere else. And then it would have been, okay, so you found bikes somewhere else. Are they Pedegos? And then, right? You only found out on Instagram later.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just like, I work for John Deere, and I pride myself on American made.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
which I couldn't. I find it bizarre that he totally lied to you guys when the fact of the matter is it had nothing to do with American made. It had everything to do where either there's two options. He found available product today, right? He wanted it now because he wants to ride. He doesn't want to wait. Or B, he got a better price, or possibly both. But we don't know. And ultimately, this line of questioning would have at least gotten us closer to find a solution to keep him in the store. And it sucks, but at least now you have a solution for if it ever happens in the future. And what's interesting about handling objections like this is when you hear, I want to go home and do some research. What kind of deal can you give me? Your product's too expensive. I got to go talk to my wife. These are, when you're prepared and you have this in muscle memory like this, when they encounter, first of all, they rarely happen anymore because you're ready for them, which is bizarre. But if they do happen, it just comes out.
Gotcha.
I got to go talk to my wife. Hey, I totally appreciate that you want to be a team player. When it comes to making a decision on a purchase like this, how do you guys come to a decision in your household? I'm curious. Now, and then usually it's like, well, I just don't want to get in the doghouse or whatever. It's like, hey, no problem. I'm curious about this though, Adam. If you're, and I would literally script it like this. I'd say, so what's your wife's name? Camry. Okay. So, and how long have you and Camry been together? About, 5 years, 10 years. Okay. So would you say Camry knows you pretty well? Yeah. And so would you say you know Camry pretty well as well? Yeah. Right. You hear where I'm going with this, right? And then I would say, so let me ask you, and I isolate the objection. I've rarely done this with Pedego dealers, so I'm giving you the bonus. And it's this. So what do you think Camry would have a problem with? The fact that you want to get a bike, or is it the price of the bike? Because here's the thing. It's one of those two things. Yeah. Because in the bicycle world, and in other things as well, but in the bicycle world, I think you guys will both appreciate this. A guy like Adam may very well be able to afford it. But a guy like Adam might have 17 bikes in the garage right now. So Camry, the wife, will just go, you bought another freaking bike? It's not about the money. It's just like, where are we going to put this? Or what do you need another bike for, right? Yeah. So we isolate what the issue is. If it's price, right? Well, she might have an issue with the price. And then therefore you could go for the deposit, right? Or you could go to the deal.
Yeah.
Or you could figure out, hey, I appreciate, it's like, hey, thanks for letting me know how you feel. What exactly are we comparing it to?
Yeah.
So does this make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I'm going to give you guys the example of the steps, and we're going to come back to this when we get back together tomorrow, but we'll start it now. So they'll say the product's too expensive. Right? So it's, thanks for letting me know how you feel. What exactly are we comparing it to? And this is important. Exactly are we, not you, comparing it to? And the reason we're using we, so thanks for letting me know how you feel, because again, somebody says your product's too expensive. Thanks for letting me know how you feel. What exactly are we comparing it to? I'm making it, you guys, did I show you that PowerPoint? Remember that?
He was,
I think I did it with you, Camry, but I didn't do it with Adam. I'm gonna rip through it like in 5 minutes with you guys right now, because I think it's worth you seeing it. No sweat. All right. So the SOS, and if I'm going too fast, Adam, just tell me and I'll slow her down.
Okay.
All right. So again, I've done this on webinars. So ready to have more happy customers. This is a shop in Toronto, and you notice that I put this quote from Dawn up on screen, and the reason I do that is social proof. Okay. So I'll put this up on screen so you can see it a little bit better. Let me just move through it. So anytime you can get a quote from anybody in your community, in my community for sales training with Pedego dealers, doesn't it make sense that I get Dawn? And I got Dawn's permission to use it, right? So if you have anybody in your local ecosystem that is a influencer, you ask them, hey, and I wrote this down, and I no bones about it. Dawn had said in passing, he had said it something to the, hey, Joe's the best sales trainer I've seen a lot of them. And I emailed him and I said, Dawn, you said this about me in quotations. Would you be okay if I use this in presentations and on my website and in my upcoming book? And he said, oh yeah, no problem. So I got his permission, right? So I'm not just putting it up there like it's some fallacy, anyways. So anyways, I introduce myself, tell people about my clients. All my clients say they want the same thing. We talked about metrics already in the bike business, where total traffic versus first visit sales, that means 95 people out of 100 don't buy on the first visit. So you have two solutions. You either follow up, which we're going to talk about the relentless follow-up system tomorrow, or you can improve your sales skills. And if you're going to improve your sales skills, you're going to have more happy customers, make more money, and over here, be less stressed.
Gotcha.
Right? Life is good when you're less stressed and you're making more money and everybody's happy.
Absolutely.
So I've talked to you about knowing your metrics. I've shown you the little clicker, right?
Yeah.
Right? So measure your metrics, find out how many people are coming in, get their follow-up information, and then do your job and know your sales stats. FDS stands for feature dumping syndrome. There are Pedego stores that will talk about this kind of garbage to clients, only confusing the crap out of them, and your customers are going to say, I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? People don't buy what you sell, they buy why you sell it, right? You want to make a difference in people's lives. So, and that's from Simon Sinek. He wrote a book called Start With Why. Go get it. It's great. You need to earn the right to ask, and you do that through listening, understanding, and taking action, When you ask, that's the keys to your success. As we know, in any sales encounter, you're probably going to run into objections, and an objection feels like a rejection. No different than Mr. John Deere coming into your place and saying, you know what, I'm changing direction. You're suddenly like, you get an emotional response, you're heartbroken, you feel embarrassed, and you're like, WTF? And he actually probably looked like this with a frown on his face, right? What we need to do is we need to build up the resilience, which is optimism, belief, control, willingness to be flexible, ability to solve the problem, which is what kind of deal can you give me? Having emotional awareness, social support, and you know what? Got to have a sense of humor in all this. So objections are a stalling tactic sometimes. Have you ever done babysitting? Right? See this little knee high? That's a classic. I want water. I want mom. I want dad. I got to go to the bathroom. Tell me a story. I'm not tired. I'm hungry. It's all stall. And it's the same thing. I got to talk to my wife. Your product's too expensive. I need to go home and do some research. Objections can also be a flat out lie. Just like this guy lied to you guys.
Yeah.
Right? We're changing direction and I want American-made product. Bullshit. And the beauty of it is that it's unfortunate that he's gone to go buy from another Pedego dealer, but we actually know that he lied. So I like to, to say that buyers can be liars. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. So, and objections can also be, right, like she's saying a little fib here, but they can also be a force of habit.
Yeah.
Right? And this guy might have very well been in that position. So the goal is win-win. How can I come up to a solution that is win-win? And the win that you're going to have is you already know your realm of possibility being in this $300 range, right? But remember, no means no for now. You're going to encounter no in a sales in a sales transaction, in the engagement process, at least 5 times before they say yes. So the SOS is, it's truly simple. It's 2 steps: acknowledge, ask a question, right? Because it's so simple, and I tell people this is the formula: acknowledge, ask a question. This is where people, I tell them, hang on a second, because this is where people make a mistake. And it's the emotional response that you have to practice so that you can have muscle memory, because when emotions go up, intelligence goes down. Right? I'm sure the 2 of you lovebirds have had a little debate that has turned into a spat, that has turned into an argument, where maybe one of you, Adam, maybe one of you might have said something where your foot was in your mouth before the last word got even out of your mouth. And you live to regret it. And what's amazing, I don't know about you, Camry, but Shauna has a memory like a trap, where she'll sometimes bring shit up from 10 years ago. It's unbelievable. And it has nothing to do with what we're talking about today. I'm not saying you're like that, Camry, but I'm saying Shauna, if she sees this video, she'll start laughing because she knows I'm right. and she is. And she's right anyways. So when emotion's too high, intelligence is way too low. And so the emotional response is what we have a problem with. And this is some of the responses that we certainly feel. Like if I had a gun with that Mr. John Deere guy, like I feel outrage, especially now after the fact. Or it's like shock. What do you mean you want to change direction? You already gave me your deposit. And the underlying emotion that we have is fear. And as men, we have a hard time admitting that we even feel this, because fear, like I'll be the first person to tell you that I, in my past, had to do a lot of personal development work to go from fear. I used to go from fear right to anger. The second I felt any fear, I just got pissed off, because it was easy. And most guys are like that.
Yeah.
And Yoda would say that, fear leads to anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. So what you needed to do is you need to be able to understand that an objection is not a rejection, and that the emotional response is natural, but I don't necessarily have to let my emotions take over. And so practice is the key. And this is where SOS comes in. And the skill of it, if you look at it, I mean, I'm sure you can have conversations with the likes of Jason in 30A. I'm sure he had gone through basic training, and these guys are crawling under barbed wire, and they've got, rounds being fired, and it doesn't mean they're not feeling fear. It just means that they can still move forward and still inch forward. I mean, look at this guy. He's smiling, right? It's bizarre to me. So the 2-step system is a lifesaver. Acknowledge and ask a question. And you can, You know, you can read all the books in the world or you can watch all the videos, but nothing helps practice. Like nothing helps like practice does. And so as a musician, I use the example because I do play guitar and I used to play in a band when I was younger. You needed to practice alone and then get together with your band and rehearse so that when you played a gig, it was showtime and you got a standing ovation. And in sales, that's when you get the contract, right? That's when you sign on the dotted line. Your client is saying, yeah, your prospect says, yeah, I'm transitioning from prospect to buyer. So you want to avoid this emotional roller coaster. And so it's a mind game. Just so different like the guy when that example of that Mr. Tony I told you about with the expensive treadmill where I asked him, so do you want to take it? And that silence totally freaked me out and I completely crapped the bed and I discounted when I didn't have to.
Yeah.
Because he tells me later, yeah, I'm ready to pay full price, Joe, but you gave me the discount and I reeled you in. So I used to do this workshop or webinar and I would ask, you know, write down some of the objections that you hear and what you guys can do for tomorrow and or for Thursday. Take the time after the call and write down objections that you've heard and I'll be able to help you through some of the acknowledgement questions that you could at least put on a sheet of paper and you guys could practice just the two of you. Because this is one of the things that we did at Fitness Depot. Half hour before we opened every Saturday, we would get together, coffee and donuts, the fitness guys, but we would practice handling objections before the store opened so that every one of us were on fire and we knew exactly, and we also did the SWOT analysis of sell what's available today. So, example, your product's too expensive, which is this one here. Hey, thanks for letting me know how you feel, right? The power of words, 7%, the way you communicate, 7% tone, 38%, 7% words, 38% tone, 55% body language, which is why, you know, if you start having a conversation with somebody via text or direct message or email, you want to quickly get them on the phone or in the store, which is why you want to have your calendar nearby so that you can get a commitment. Because live like this, body language doesn't lie.
Yeah.
So again, acknowledge your product's too expensive. Thanks for letting me know how you feel. What exactly are we comparing it to? I didn't say what are you comparing it to, which makes it exclusive. I'm pushing you away. I'm saying we by being inclusive. And those little word changes have a massive impact on your subconscious mind. It's called neuro-linguistic programming. And NLP is a powerful tool that helps influence and persuade. So that one word shift, the old way was you, the new way is we. And so your product's too expensive. Hey, you know, the old way was, what are you comparing it to? Or some people would even go, well, compared to what? And that comes off as offensive because they're on the defensive. But the new way, the SOS way, is, hey, thanks for letting me know how you feel. What exactly are we comparing it to? And we're being inclusive. And again, objections have different disguises. So, hey, you know, your product's expensive. It could be, how much? Or are you serious? Dude, are you nuts? Right? It's the same objection. So the way that you handle it, are you nuts? I could buy a car for that price. Hey, thanks for letting me know how you feel. What exactly are we comparing it to?
Yeah.
Right? So the steps remain the same. You just got to uncover how exactly is the objection coming in. And your product's too expensive is not, I can't afford it. You can't, if somebody says I can't afford it, you don't say, thanks for letting me know how you feel. What exactly are we comparing it to? Right? I can't afford it is, hey, I appreciate you letting me know the situation you're in, and you're certainly not the first person to mention this to me. If I could show you a way to be able to get this right now, where you could get the bike today, roll out of here, and you didn't have to pay for 6 months interest-free, would you be willing to give that a try? I have this, it just comes, it literally barfs out of my mouth because I don't think about it. It just happens. Yeah. Why? Because I practice it. So it's 2 steps, and that's the beauty of it. You could step into the dojo and practice it live under pressure with other people. And trust me, I put people under pressure on purpose. We don't just practice the words. Then I do exercises to make it harder. So again, popular objections. Your product's too expensive. I want to go home and do some research. I never buy anything that's expensive without sleeping on it. I'm not interested. My spouse will need to decide, what kind of deal can you give me? By the way, this is going to work with customers that are pissed off. I was in Delaware doing a workshop with a client where they had somebody on the phone, their service department, and I walked past and the service manager said, yeah, well, you suck, and hung up the phone on the guy. And I said, oh my God, what happened here? Like, tell me about the conversation. And the guy said, well, the guy on the other end said, my service department sucked. And he took that personally. So he said, yeah, well, you suck. And he hung up on him. I'm like, oh my God. So the answer, 2 steps, right? Your service department sucks. I would personally go, wow, obviously something happened that's making you feel this upset. What specifically happened so that I can understand? And then just listen and let them vent. And then, okay, acknowledge. Okay, what else? And then once they've calmed down, because that's what happened with a pissed off customer, they just need to vent and calm down. Then you don't say, what do I need to do to fix this? Because I'll tell you what, a Pedego customer like Mr. John Deere is going to say, I want a new bike. So that is incorrect. You don't set yourself up for failure. You would say, hey, you know what? I totally appreciate that we need to fix this. What's a win-win? That would be a good resolution for us here. Well, if they say I need a new bike, you can say, well, I appreciate that you're looking for a solution. Unfortunately, that's not a win-win for me. That's a win-lose. What would be a win-win? How about I repair the bike, but I give you a loaner? That way you're not, you know what I mean? Like so you come up with a solution. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Awesome. So again, we play games in the SOS Dojo. SOS helps build you KLT, which is know, like, trust, or know, love, and trust. And what's the point of it all? It's helped to build deep relationships. Asking questions helps you get to solutions and figure out what the problems. So you're going to have a no at least 5 times before you encounter yes. Does that make sense? And then here, when I do this live thing, I get into a sales pitch, and I let people give people the option, and I talk about the dojo. So anyways, that's the SOS in essence. 2 steps: acknowledge, ask a question. So with the expensive piece, right? Your product's too expensive. Cameron, can you read this chicken scratch?
Yes.
Okay. So if I say to you, your product's too expensive, what are you going to say?
Thank you for letting me know how you feel. What exactly are we comparing it to?
All right. Now say it to Adam. Tell him your product's too expensive.
Your product is way too expensive.
Adam, read the words. Go ahead.
Thanks for letting me know how you feel. What are we comparing it to?
Yeah. And you can say what exactly, because you want to be specific, right? So, yeah, but what are we comparing it to is great. And here's the thing about the SOS before I let you go, because I know you got an order that you want to put in by 11:30. When you practice it, you can practice it using the words that I give you. And then once you have it to a point where you can't get it wrong, feel free to change the words and make it your own. I know it right now. Some people say to me, Joe, I don't like the idea of a script or having something that's in a can. Here's the thing. If you don't do it this way, it's like playing a piece of music. How are you going to know how to play the song until you know the notes? So these are the notes. Learn the notes, then play the music the way you want after.
Gotcha. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So it's because I know that you've got an order pending, and this might be an opportunity to practice some good management skills here, Adam, like we talked about earlier, which is awesome. I'm gonna, unless you want to, anything else that you want to cover for today.
No, I think that's pretty good.
Okay, good.
A lot of good stuff.
Excellent. And I'm gonna the change of direction thing. I'm gonna add it to my dojo.
Okay.
I mean, I've had somebody say I'm canceling my appointment or canceling the order. But again, it's just that we're changing direction. Man, I'd love to find out. I'd love to be like muted on the call with Blue Ridge, because I'm curious. Like I'm genuinely pissed off for you.
Yeah,
I really am. But by the way, let's celebrate the win. Camry, congratulations on being 50% over target for the month of June. Like, that is effing awesome. It's freaking awesome, you guys. Like, doesn't that feel good?
yeah, it really does.
Yeah. I mean, celebrate every win. Like, if you went out for dinner last night to celebrate early, good for you. It's well-deserved. And I will see you guys tomorrow, same time.
Sounds good.
Okay, you guys. Have a great day.
You too.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.